The laughter was cruel, sharp as glass against the gentle murmur of waves. The Santa Monica Pier, usually alive with music, the scent of fried food, and the chatter of happy families, seemed to hold its breath that afternoon. The Ferris wheel turned slowly, its painted cars gleaming in the California sun, but on the boardwalk just below, a different scene unfolded. "Move, Cripple," one boy's voice rang out, cutting through the salty air. His sneaker lashed out, connecting with the side of a wheelchair. The girl in it, thin, dark-haired, with wide eyes that already carried too much of the world's weight, jolted to the side as her chair rolled a few inches. She flinched, her hands tightening on the armrests. She wanted to disappear. Her name was Emily. 15 years old. Born with cerebral palsy that made walking painful and slow, so she relied on her chair for longer outings. This trip to the pier was supposed to be an escape. Her older brother, Daniel, had promised her a day of laughter, rides, and maybe even trying cotton candy for the first time. But Daniel was a few steps away buying lemonade, and in that moment, Emily was alone. The bullies smelled weakness the way sharks smelled blood. There were 3 of them, maybe 16 or 17, all lean, restless boys with too much time and too little kindness. They crowded around her, their shadows blotting out the sunlight. "What's the matter? Can't you walk? Or are you just lazy?" one sneered, leaning down until his face was inches from hers. Emily tried to answer, but her throat locked. Her hands trembled. She hated this, hated that her voice always vanished when she needed it most. Another boy pushed at the wheel of her chair, spinning it so she faced the railing, the glittering Pacific beyond it. "Bet she can't even stand without crying." The first kick came then. Not hard enough to break anything, but enough to hurt. Enough to humiliate. The chair shuddered, her body jerked, and the boys laughed. Emily squeezed her eyes shut. If she didn't see them, maybe they'd vanish. She whispered in her mind, "Please, not here. Not today. Please." But then something happened. A sound rolled across the pier, low at first, then rising, multiplying, until it filled the air like thunder. It wasn't waves or laughter. It was engines. Dozens of them. The steady growl of motorcycles, vibrating through the wood planks beneath her chair. The bullies hesitated. One of them turned his head, frowning. And then they appeared. A sea of bikers, leather jackets catching the sun, chrome gleaming. They came not like predators, but like guardians, silent at first, slowing their machines as they pulled onto the pier. Their presence was massive, undeniable. People stopped to stare. Even the seagulls quieted. At the front rode a man with a gray beard tucked into his vest, tattoos running down his arms like rivers of stories. His eyes, though hidden by sunglasses, locked on the scene. He saw Emily. He saw the boys. And something in the air shifted. The bullies stepped back instinctively. Daniel returned just then, lemonade cups in hand, confusion flashing across his face. "Emily?" he asked, rushing toward her. But before he could confront the boys, one of the bikers killed his engine, set his boots on the ground, and walked forward. The leader's voice was gravel, deep and steady. "Is there a problem here?" No one answered. The boys tried to laugh it off, but the sound was brittle, false. The biker leaned closer. "Because from where I'm standing, it looks like 3 punks picking on someone who deserves a whole lot more respect than you'll ever earn." The crowd that had gathered murmured in agreement. Someone pulled out a phone to record. The bullies shifted uncomfortably, realizing the tide had turned. Emily's eyes lifted, meeting the bikers. He gave her a nod, small, reassuring, as if to say, "You're safe now." Daniel put an arm around her shoulders. "She's fine," he told the biker softly, but his jaw was tight with fury. "No," the biker said, shaking his head. "She's not fine. She was being hurt. And we don't stand for that." One by one, the other bikers turned off their engines and dismounted. The pier filled with the smell of gasoline and leather, but beneath it was something stronger, solidarity. They moved like a tide, surrounding Emily's chair, not trapping her, but protecting her. The bullies tried to back away, but the circle closed. The leader spoke again. "You boys think you're tough, kicking at someone who can't kick back. Let me tell you something. Real strength isn't about breaking others down, it's about lifting them up. And right now? You're nothing but cowards." The boys flushed, stammering. One muttered, "We didn't mean anything." "Too late for that," another biker said. The leader pointed toward the pier's exit. "Leave. Now." And they did. They scrambled away, their bravado crumbling with every step. The crowd parted for them with disapproval written on every face. Some even clapped when the boys vanished into the distance. Emily sat frozen, her chest rising and falling fast. She didn't know whether to cry or to smile. Her hands clenched tightly in her lap. Then the biker leader crouched down so he was level with her. He took off his sunglasses, revealing eyes the color of storm clouds, hard from a lifetime of battles, but soft when they met hers. "You all right, little lady?" he asked. Emily nodded, though her throat still ached with unshed tears. Thank you." The words cracked, but they came. For once, she found her voice. The biker smiled. "Don't thank me. Thank the Brotherhood." He gestured to the group, who stood like an unshakable wall behind her. "We look out for people who need it. Always." Daniel, still shaken, extended a hand. "I don't know how to repay you." "You don't owe us anything," the biker interrupted. Then he looked back at Emily. "But you need to remember something. You're stronger than you think. Don't let anyone tell you otherwise." The words landed like sunlight breaking through storm clouds. The bikers stayed a little while longer. They didn't leave immediately, instead, they chatted with Daniel, cracked jokes, even posed for pictures with curious tourists. A few knelt beside Emily, telling her stories of their own struggles, broken homes, battles with addiction, lives turned around because someone, once upon a time, had stood up for them. One woman in the group, her hair braided tight under a bandana, leaned close and whispered, "When I was your age, I thought I'd never be strong either. But you'd be surprised what fire you can carry inside you." She winked. "Don't forget that fire." For the first time all day, Emily smiled. Really smiled. Eventually, the engines roared back to life, and the sea of bikers rolled away as suddenly as they had appeared, leaving the pier buzzing with stories that would spread far beyond Santa Monica. Daniel knelt by Emily's chair, looking her in the eyes. "You okay?" She nodded slowly. "Yeah." Then, after a pause, "I think I'm more than okay." They finished their day at the pier. Emily tried cotton candy, it melted on her tongue like pink clouds, and she laughed until her stomach hurt during the Ferris wheel ride. But more than the food or the rides, what she carried home that evening was something deeper, a sense that she wasn't alone in the world, that there were strangers who would rise like mountains to shield her. That night, as she lay in bed, Emily replayed the scene again and again. The cruel words. The kick. The sudden thunder of engines. And the voice that told her she was stronger than she believed. For years, she had felt invisible, defined by her chair, by what she couldn't do. But now she understood, her worth wasn't measured by her legs. It was in her heart, her spirit, and her ability to endure. The next day at school, the bullies didn't look at her. They didn't whisper, didn't smirk. In fact, they avoided her altogether. Maybe they were embarrassed. Maybe they were afraid. But Emily didn't care anymore. Their power over her had been broken. She rolled through the halls with her head higher than before, hearing the echo of motorcycle engines in her mind like a battle hymn. And though life wouldn't suddenly be easy,